As scholars, it's important that you are having in text citations and corresponding references whenever you are writing about any kind of text, whether it's a song, a poem, a chapter, an essay, a book, an article, what have you. You must give credit to whom credit is due. It's just like what I tell students about um, know about hip hop artists, especially in the past. People used to have real beef about people stealing their lyrics, and rightfully so. And so, just like an artist doesn't want their works stolen, no, neither do people who are doing written works, other kinds of written works. So, just so to avoid plagiarism, because plagiarism is real, let's go ahead and talk about citing um, for your class. So you are required to have an edited book for your class, and you are required to also have pick a format, APA or MLA. If you are in the arts and humanities, usually you pick MLA. If you are in the social sciences and STEM, it's APA. There are other writing style formats, but I only, excuse me, just allow those two, APA and MLA. And so I want you to make sure that you are citing properly. So, with that being said, the first thing to do is to go to Google search. What I would do is type in online writing lab, which is Al Purdue. So, Al Purdue, and do APA, and you see it pulls up this formatting style and guide. And you can do the same thing for MLA, and it pulls this up. So let's go ahead and look at um, APA first. And of course, you will see that your edited book is a multi volume work. And so the citation just for the book itself should look like this. Okay? And then for works within that edited book, like a chapter, essay, poem, article, then it should look like this. And we'll go over this more, and that's for APA. Now let's look at MLA. With MLA, you will have the actual um, work is the anthology or whatever the edited book will look like this. But works within the anthology, like again the poems, the chapters, the short stories, the essays, they will look like this. And so, what you should know is that APA and MLA, they're slightly different, but the differences matter. And also the kind of work. So, you may also in your essays not only use works in your the required edited textbook, but you may use outside work, so articles and other scholarly articles, maybe even references to songs, everything else. They are cited differently. So it is important that you become familiar with your MLA formatting guide or your APA formatting guide. And for the rest of the semester, you can only choose one, MLA or APA. You cannot interchange or, decide to discard one and pick up the other. You choose one and you stick with that one for the rest of the semester. So let's look specifically at some of the edited books that I'll be using in my classes, and you'll be familiar with at least one of them. Okay, so, and if you're not familiar, that's okay. If there's another book that's being used, the same format goes. So again, showed you the APA MLA format just for the edited book itself. So for Rereading America, the APA looks like this, with the author's last name and just their middle, and then their first initial, right? And then the year of publication, the actual title of the book, and you will see in APA that only the first words are capitalized, and everything else, if it's not supposed to be capitalized, will be in lowercase letters. And then anything after a colon, the first word is capitalized as well, and you see the rest of this is in lowercase letters. You have the edition and you have the publisher. This also goes for the Norton Anthology of African American Literature, right? you have Henry Louis Gates and Valerie Smith, but you see it's their last name and then their first initial. And then also arguing about literature guide and reader. Same thing, last name of the author, first and first initial, year, title, edition, and publisher. That's for APA. And MLA looks kind of similar. All right, so this is MLA's example that we saw earlier. And so you have the last name of the author and their full first name spelled out. And so you have these are the authors. This is the title. The title will capitalize every important word. So that's the difference with APA and MLA. And then, of course, titles are in italics because larger works are always in italics. And then you have the publisher, you have the edition, and you have the year. The same for the Norton Anthology of African American Literature, which also adds volumes. We are using volumes 1 and 2 for African American literature. And then also for arguing about literature, a guide and reader. All right, so now we want to just go ahead and look at works within those multi-volume works. And so this is how you are to write. These are examples of how you are to do this. So it should in Rereading America: Cultural Context for Critical Thinking and Writing, we're going to read an excerpt from Parker J. Palmer, and it was The Accidental Citizen. And what you'll see that for APA, works that are not in italics, larger works, smaller works, which this is, an essay, they don't have quotation marks. It's just the plain title. However, in your essay, you're going to have to write the quotation marks. And as you see again, capitalize the main words. Always capitalize the, and then whatever comes after it, and then lowercase everything else. And then it's going to be remember the editors that the previous citation. So you put the editors and put EDS as editors, put the name of the larger volume of work, which is Rereading America: Cultural Context for Critical Thinking and Writing. Then in parentheses, you have the edition and the page numbers of The Accidental Citizen, and then you have the publisher. The same goes for the Norton Anthology of African American Literature. If you're reading The Lesson by Toni Cade Bambara, this is how you would write it. It's the fourth edition of the Norton Anthology of African American Literature. It's actually in volume 2, so we should take out volume 1, or you can keep it in, but put volume 2 to be more specific, and it's in page 784 to 789. And you have the publisher. And this also goes for, let's say you're reading Araby and Arguing About Literature, a Guide and Reader by James Joyce. Then it'll look like this with the page numbers of Araby right here. That's for APA. Now if we go on to MLA, this is what it'll look like. So for MLA, you will have Parker J. Palmer's work actually in quotation marks, so The Accidental Citizen, the name of the larger volume of work, and then you put edited by, you write that out, all the editors, then the 12th edition, the year, and then the page numbers that Accidental Citizen will be found. And this is the same thing for The Lesson for Toni Cade Bambara and the Norton Anthology of African American Literature, and for Araby by James Joyce in Arguing About Literature, a Guide and Reader. So this will be put on Blackboard under the area where it has handouts and APA and MLA formatting. You will click on that, and then you will specifically click on APA and MLA formatting, and then you will see a PDF of this to help you out. It is important that when you are doing your discussion boards, your journal responses, unless I say you don't have to, and definitely your essays, that when you are referring to a text, you give credit to whom credit is due going forward. And that's what scholars do. So that is required for the class, and I'm expecting you to do that and to do it properly. And for any other kinds of sources, please refer to OWL Purdue, whether you're doing MLA and APA, because it has a list of so many kinds of sources and that you can have, which is so great, right? I mean, look at this. electronic sources, periodicals, books, other common sources. This is for MLA. And then for APA, very similar. Periodicals, books, print, electronic, audiovisual, etc. And then if you really need the handbook for this, because maybe you have something that may not be in on this website, the library has a lot of resources to help you with that. They have the handbooks in digital form and also print form. So please make sure that you cite your work going forward.